They say when a stranger asks you for the time, you're just being polite when you answer, but what if I told you that some questions aren't questions at all? They're invitations, doorways into a realm where your soul becomes currency, and time itself is the trap. This is what happened to Amadi, a 16-year-old boy who made the fatal mistake of answering a simple question 3 times, and by the third answer, he had already signed away something he didn't even know could be taken. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me take you back to that Wednesday afternoon when everything changed. The market was suffocating, thick with heat and the smell of dried fish and overripe plantains. Amadi was wiping sweat from his forehead, packing up his tray of plantain chips, when a shadow fell across his table. He looked up and saw a man. Thin, impossibly thin, with eyes that seemed to sink back into his skull like they were trying to hide from the light. The man's lips barely moved when he spoke. "Young man, please, what is the time?" His voice was soft, too soft, like it was coming from somewhere far away. Amadi glanced at his wristwatch without thinking. "It's exactly 3 o'clock, sir." The man smiled. But it wasn't the kind of smile that reaches the eyes. It was the kind that makes your skin crawl, even if you don't know why. Then he turned and melted into the crowd. Amadi shook it off, just another strange market encounter. But 10 minutes later, the man was back, standing in the exact same spot, wearing the exact same expression. "Sorry, young man. I forgot. What time is it again?" Amadi felt a flicker of annoyance, but checked his watch anyway. "It's 10 minutes past 3. This time, the man stared at him. Really stared, like he was memorizing Amadi's face. Then he walked away again. But when he returned a third time, Amadi's patience snapped. "Young man, what is the time now?" Amadi didn't hide his irritation. "It's a few minutes past 3. If you need the time so badly, sir, buy a wristwatch." The man's face went completely still. His eyes turned black. Not dark brown. Black, like someone had poured ink into them. And he whispered in a voice that seemed to echo from inside Amadi's own chest, "It is dawn." Then he vanished. Not walked away. Vanished. Like smoke pulled backward into nothing, Amadi stood there, frozen, his heart hammering. But the market noise rushed back in, and he convinced himself he'd imagined it. Later that evening at home, he told his sister Ada Ora about the encounter. She laughed it off. Market people and their drama, forget him. But that night, at exactly 3 a.m., Amadi woke up with a pain so sharp in his stomach, it felt like something was twisting his insides with iron fingers. He stumbled to the kitchen, drank water, paced the living room, then collapsed back onto the couch. And that's when it happened. His eyes were wide open, but he couldn't move. Not a finger, not a toe. His chest felt like someone had placed a grinding stone on it, crushing the air from his lungs. His heart was racing so fast he thought it would burst. Then he saw it. A shape, darker than the darkness around it, crouched near the ceiling fan, its head tilted at an impossible angle, watching him with eyes that glowed like dying embers. He tried to scream, but his throat was locked. His mouth wouldn't open. The thing smiled, and he could see it had too many teeth. Far too many. Then as suddenly as it came, the weight lifted. Amadi gasped and shot up, shaking so violently his teeth chattered. "God, what is happening to me?" he whispered into the darkness. He didn't sleep again. He couldn't, but around 5:45 exhaustion finally dragged him under. And when he opened his eyes, he wasn't in his house anymore. He was standing in a place with no walls, no ceiling, no floor, just endless gray nothing stretching in every direction, and voices, whispers coming from everywhere and nowhere. "He showed us the time. His time is open now. Let us in. Let us in. Let us in." Amadi looked down, and his heart stopped. He could see his own body far below him, still lying on the couch, eyes closed, chest barely moving. He was outside himself. His soul was untethered. Panic exploded in his chest, and he screamed, I want to go back. Let me go back. But the voices only laughed, a sound like glass breaking underwater. The gray space around him began to pulse and throb, getting hotter, tighter, like it was trying to squeeze him into nothing. Then, at 6:45 a.m., he snapped back into his body. With such force, he fell off the couch, gasping, choking. His mother, Mama, and Nena found him on the floor, drenched in sweat, shaking. When he told her everything, her face went pale. "We're going to see the Dibia. Now, get dressed." They arrived at Dibia Okeke's compound before sunrise. The old man took one look at Amadi, and his expression darkened. This boy has crossed the boundary between day and night. Mama and Nena fell to her knees. "Please, Dibia, help us." The old man dropped 3 cowries into a clay pot of water. They should have floated. Instead, they sank like stones, and the water turned black, thick, like oil. Dibia Okeke exhaled slowly. "What you met in the market was not a man?" Amadi's voice cracked. "Then what was he?" The Dibia's eyes were grave. "His name is Udochukwu. He died violently 60 years ago. Buried without proper rites. His spirit cannot rest, cannot move forward. So it wanders, collecting time from the living, and you gave him yours 3 times. 3 is the number of opening. 3 is the doorway." Mama Nena grabbed the Dibia's arm. "How do we close it?" The old man was silent for a long moment. "There is a way, but it requires courage most people don't possess. Tonight, Amadi must sleep alone. No light, no sound, no prayer. When the spirit comes, and it will come, he must not run, must not speak, must not show fear. If he does, the spirit will take what it wants, his name, then his blood, then his breath. But if he faces it without flinching, the doorway will begin to close." That night was the longest of Amadi's life. He sat alone in the dark room. Every sound made him jump. The house creaked. The windows rattled, like invisible hands were testing them. At exactly 3 a.m., the temperature dropped so fast, Amadi could see his own breath. And the man appeared. But he wasn't a man anymore. His skin was charcoal black, cracked like burnt wood. His eyes were empty pits, and when he spoke, his voice came from inside Amadi's head. "You showed me the time. Now show me the way. Give me your name. Just your name, and I'll leave you before dawn." Amadi's whole body screamed at him to run, to cry out, to do anything. But he remembered the Dibia's words. He sat perfectly still, even as the thing leaned closer, even as its cold breath touched his face. "Say your name." "Say it," the spirit hissed. But Amadi remained silent. His jaw clenched, so tight his teeth hurt. Suddenly the spirit let out a scream. A sound so terrible, Amadi thought his ears would bleed. Then it vanished. When morning came, Mama Nena found Amadi unconscious on the floor, and on his chest was a handprint, black and burnt into his skin. Dibia Okeke examined it and nodded gravely. "You survived the first gate, the gate of names, but he's not finished. There are 2 more, blood and breath, and he will come for them." Later that day, Amadi noticed a thin cut on his forearm, fresh, clean, like someone had sliced him with a razor while he wasn't looking. He didn't remember getting it. That night he woke to find his window wide open, even though he'd locked it, and sitting on the floor was an old pocket watch, the same one the stranger had been carrying in the market. Its hands were frozen at exactly 3 a.m. For 3 days, the Dibia prepared Amadi with bitter baths, water mixed with bitter leaf, charcoal, and red palm oil. Each morning before sunrise, Amadi bathed in silence, while the Dibia chanted prayers in a language older than Igbo, older than time. On the 3rd night, Amadi slept and found himself standing before a massive gate made of pure white light. A voice spoke from within it, warm, ancient, protective. "Your time is not his. Your soul has been reclaimed. Go back now." When Amadi woke, he knew it was over. The air felt clean, the house felt lighter. Even the morning sun seemed brighter. A week later, Amadi returned to the market, nervous, watching every face. But the man never appeared again. However, every day, at exactly 3 p.m., a stray dog near his stall would suddenly start barking at nothing, running in circles, hackles raised, staring at empty air. The Dibia explained, "He's still looking, still hunting for another soul to give him the time. But he cannot touch you anymore. The gates are closed." Amadi wanted to warn people, to stand in the market and shout the truth. But the Dibia stopped him. "It is not your place. The spirit realm has its own laws. You survived because you were meant to. Others must walk their own paths. Just make sure you never answer a stranger who asks you for the time. Not once, not ever." And so, Amadi lives with his secret, watching, waiting, praying, that no other innocent soul makes the same mistake he did. Because some questions aren't questions, they're tests. And some strangers aren't strangers at all. They're collectors. And the moment you answer, you've already given them the only thing they came for. Your time, which, in the spirit world, means your soul. So remember this: when someone you don't know asks you what time it is, especially if they ask more than once, walk away. Don't be rude. Don't explain. Just walk away, because the world we see is only half the story. And in the other half, the one that exists in shadows and whispers, and the space between sleep and waking, time doesn't move forward. It circles. It hunts. It waits. And some spirits have all the time in the world to wait for you to answer. If this story made your skin crawl, if you felt that cold touch on the back of your neck, then you understand. The unseen world is real. It's watching, and it speaks to us through dreams, through coincidences, through strangers who ask questions they already know the answers to. Protect yourself. Pray. Stay close to your community. Never give your name to strangers. Never let unknown shadows touch your reflection. And for God's sake, never answer when the same person asks you for the time 3 times, because 3 is the number of opening. And once that door swings wide, closing it again might cost you everything. Thank you for listening. If you haven't subscribed, do it now. Turn on notifications. Share this story with someone who needs to hear it. And until we meet again in the next tale, take care of yourself, guard your spirit, and remember, not everyone who seems lost is asking for directions. Some of them are asking for permission, and your answer is all they need. Stay safe, stay aware, and may your time always remain your own. Goodbye.